Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about this whole thing going on the West Coast, small farms being shut down, and what does that mean for us? Before we get into that, right now over at patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead, we are giving some videos on ham radio communications, GMRS communications, and CB communications, things you need licenses for and things you don't need licenses for. So we're getting into all that. We've got a number of videos already up. I just put another one up today talking about CB radio, the thing you don't need a license for. And because we can't do giveaways over at Patreon, because that's against their terms of service, because a bunch of lawyers are in charge in the world in general, we go ahead and we do awards to our patrons. So we award our patrons certain things, and so the next award is going to be this Bearcat single sideband CB radio. It's got a lot of capabilities, fantastic. We just did a video on this over at patreon.com, so if you're interested, you can go over there and check it out. Link is in the description below. But let's go ahead and get into this. I saw this posted over at Twitter. I'm going to read it to you. This was posted over at Wall Street Apes. It says, more details on Oregon shutting down family farms and going after small farmers selling food to their neighbors. Now, a lot of you guys have been sending me these articles. I've been watching this, but it's really causing an uproar in a lot of places in Oregon, and a lot of people are talking about it nationwide, and it's like progressing. Let's say it says government using satellite imagery now to pinpoint farms to target. So they're using satellite, probably Google Earth or whatever, to figure out if you're growing things. And then they're using that to target you with cease and desist orders. Government is also a government hotline for neighbors to report you. So if your neighbors don't like you and they see that you're growing things, you're farming, you're even playing farmer, there's a hotline where they can call and turn you in. It says Oregon lawmakers are rewording their laws to effectively treat small local farms the same as like a large farming operation on a commercial scale. Small farms being sent cease and desist letters and can no longer operate without a water right, permitting processes to use your own well water. So you have a well, it's on your property, and you're not allowed to use that anymore because, see, that water doesn't belong to you. You have to get a permit, and we can either decide to allow you to get that permit or we can deny you that permit. It goes on. Guys, I had to stop what I was doing to share this with you guys because this is crazy. Right now, the state of Oregon is shutting down small family farms en masse under the guise of water conservation. Oregon lawmakers are rewording their laws to effectively treat small local farms the same as like a large farming operation on a commercial scale. And let me tell you the scariest part, because I've talked about this on my own page before. The way they are finding these farms is they are using satellite imagery to pinpoint your farm and send you a cease and desist letter insisting that you stop all production. Kind of like that guy, the Amish up in Pennsylvania. The government has also set up a hotline so that your neighbors can call and rat on you. Snitches get stitches.
Break yourself, fool!
For watering the vegetables and fruit that you're going to go and sell to the farmer's market next weekend. Now, I can make a follow-up video going over details about these laws that they are abusing, as well as the lawsuits that farmers are filing to fight back. Oh, good grief. It's like, I know what we'll do. We'll hire a lawyer. Lawyers are the cause of all these problems. Okay, it says this might be Oregon right now, but I promise you if they get away with this, the other states will adopt these same laws. Will they? We'll talk about that. Stay informed, friends. Know who you're voting into office and know whose best interest they have at heart. So you might be saying, Zach, that's not me. Those are those large gardeners out there who are going to commercial places like farmers markets and they're growing gigantic gardens and they need lots of water. That doesn't include me. But do you remember about the time where I just not that long ago, maybe about a year ago, where I talked about the USDA asking you nicely, as of at least right now, to please register your gardens, and how the UN wanted all gardens to be registered, but the USDA was like, we'll just do community gardens and see how that goes. Well, it went nowhere. Most people didn't register at all, and it was a big giant flop and waste of taxpayer money to put up an entire website, asking for people to voluntarily register their community gardens. They want all gardens. They want to know where every single morsel of food is coming, whether you raise it with livestock or whether you grow it out of the ground. And if you're growing it out of the ground, what water are you using? Because don't you see, we own all the water. And if you have livestock, we want you to register your chickens and we want you to use new RFID ear tags so that we can keep track of all of those livestock, all that stock. Now, most people who raise animals, if they raise a number of them, us included, because you have to keep track of livestock. It's good animal husbandry. If you've never heard that word husbandry, you have not grown livestock, because what you want to do is you want to keep the genetics of your animals pure by switching out the sires so that you have just a better overall herd. And so most people will use tags and a notebook like we do to keep track of sires and who belongs to who and who is birthed to and all that. But the government says that's not enough. We want you to use RFID radio tags, and we want you to register those radio tags with us so that we know where you are, we know what you're producing, even if you're not using it for a commercial, purpose. That is coming. Go look up RFID tags for livestock. They want it for everybody. It's like they're closing in. They have you in their grasp. And maybe not you yet, but you eventually.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
This is why I have emphasized over the years, number one, get out of the city. Number two, get to a red state, a place where there's low population density. Those types of places will not put up with nonsense like this, at least not for a while. This is causing quite a ruckus, and people in Oregon are raising quite a fuss. I've been seeing this all over the internet. If you tried this in a red state, at least right now, you'd have so many people up in arms, torches and pitchforks. And this is why I have said on my channel that an economic collapse is probably one of the best things we can hope for at this point. We're $35 trillion in debt. There are quadrillions of derivatives that are now in play right now. When this collapses, it will be astronomical. And with a collapse, again, I'm going by history books. When collapses like this happen on this grand of a scale that we are absolutely facing, it's inevitable. That cake is baked. I've said that over and over again. When that happens, enforcement will be very, very rare. Because with enforcement, you have to pay enforcers. And if you can't pay enforcers because your currency and your economy is garbage, enforcers usually don't go to work. Because what happens is when enforcers go to work, do you remember that scene in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where the little kid had the M1 Garand? And he had talked about, nicking the census guy.
You men from the bank? I'm supposed to shoot folks serving papers.
We ain't got no papers neither.
I nicked the census, man.
Now there's a good boy.
It's not worth it. Leave a comment below if you remember that scene. What do you think? I think that economic collapse is, number one, the best thing we can hope for at this point, because that's going to lower enforcement. And number two, I think this sort of insanity that we're seeing in Oregon right now is probably not going to be seen in red states, at least for a while. At least for a while, until these WEF guys, Klaus Schwab and all his ilk, can get a handle on some of the people who are in control of some of these more rural red states. But what do you think? I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. Crazy times we're living in, guys. Crazy times we're living in. And if an economic collapse is certain and on the horizon, you better be preparing for it. We'll leave it at that. Hey, also, check out our merchandise at teespring.com. You can find our t-shirts. I'm not wearing one right now. Stupid Should Hurt, our best-selling shirt. If we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful lot less stupid. And also, over at our Patreon, we are still giving away these PDFs, these herbal extract books. They're out of copyright, out of print, written over 100 years ago. The pharmaceuticals don't want you to have this information. They would rather this information just went away. But it's not. You join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. I appreciate if you join at higher levels. I really do. But these books, if you bought them on Amazon, are going to cost you about $1,000 a piece, around $900 for one and $1,000 for the other. You can find these at my Patreon, and the reason they're so expensive over at other places like Amazon is because of the valuable information contained within. This is my medicine cabinet right here. It doesn't tell you how to make tinctures. There are plenty of videos out there that do that. This tells you what to do with them and why to use them. Again, information the pharmaceutical companies would rather you just didn't know about. I'm giving them away to all my patrons, no matter what you join at, but I appreciate the $1 a month or even higher levels. And then also keep in mind, we got more awards coming over. If you're interested in emergency preparedness communications, we're talking about that in depth over at patreon.com/American Homestead, link in the description below. See you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com.
Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.